What's up, y'all? It's Miles the Millennial.
And it's your boy Rex Howard Jr.
Hi, it's Coach Lauren Jackson, your favorite relationship and marriage coach. I'm so excited about tonight. We got our friend Miles back.
I know, guys, I had an emergency last week, so I'm sorry I couldn't be there with y'all, but I'm so excited to be back this week. It's Love Week, so I hope the fellas were listening last week. I was tuned in the comments when Rex was dropping all that game.
Yeah.
Um, Coach Lauren, you said something earlier, I believe it was earlier today on your page, where you were saying dating, like men, the thing that your lady gets mad about is not, that you don't care about dating or anything of that. It's that you're intentional about everything else. But when it comes to spending time with her, it's very nonchalant. And I think that was powerful. So y'all have been given the game in my absence. So I'm glad to be back in.
Yay! Like our Instagram family's tapping in. We see y'all joining. Thank y'all. Please share the live. DM it to somebody that you don't need it. Just don't. You ain't even got to tag them. Okay, you ain't got to put their name out there, but just
Right.
send them a DM.
I'm so excited for today's episode. We are going to be talking about how to love your partner for 365 days, right? How do you keep this love thing rolling and flowing the entirety of the year, and not just when Valentine's Day comes around, not just when the birthdays come around, not just when the anniversaries come around. How are you doing this on a daily basis, 365, 24/7? So, I know typically we do question style, or for this case, we're going to do 2 points. What do we want to do, Rex?
Are we doing questions?
Let's do questions. All right. Are you prepared with them?
Yeah.
All right. Good.
We
Now,
locked in.
before we get started, we want to make sure we give our reminders, guys. Make sure you go to the links in the bio to sign up for our Real Talk, Real Growth newsletter, guys. It's going to be filled with so many gems. It's going to make sure it keeps you up to date on everything that we drop and everything that we're doing. Yeah, that's all I got for right now. Does anybody else have anything they want to bring to the table? Okay, Rex, you're good. Coach Lauren, you need anything?
No, you hit it. I'll find the link and I'll drop it in the chat too.
Sounds perfect. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and jump into this conversation for today. Rex, lead us off with these questions, man. How are we going to love our partner for 365 days?
Yeah. So starting us off, question number one is going to say, what does it truly mean to love your partner daily? And how does it differ from just being in a relationship? So once again, what does it mean to truly love your partner daily? And how does it differ from being in just a relationship? Coach, crank us up.
Man, y'all in my business. I feel like the topics be getting in my business. Hey, YouTube family, we got like 10 people out there on YouTube watching us tonight. They tapping in. And y'all definitely drop the comments, whatever you want to say. We here, we listening. So to me, what it means to love your partner 365 days is to really love them on a I call it in bite-sized pieces. I think a lot of times we think everything has to be grand and everything has to be big and everything has to be dramatic. And quite honestly, it doesn't have to be. And I think too, that's understanding your partner, knowing your partner, not getting so complacent with, oh, that's just how she is, or she never, anytime I say this all she says is this. Like I've been challenging the men because I've been calling my husbands. Listen, we've been rallying up like we the Eagles. Okay, listen, I need to know, are we winning? Are we getting Lombardi trophy? I don't want to wake up to no mean text messages from your wife saying he ain't did none of the stuff he said he was gonna do. Okay. And quite honestly, we wouldn't have the pressure of Valentine and what you gonna do for this holiday and that holiday if we made loving our partner a part of our everyday value. But when you have to, a lot of times people have to overcompensate in areas that they were only barely showing up in the first place. And that is where the pressure comes on. That is where you feel like you're under the gun because you're not doing small intentional things like leaving a sticky note on her windshield or on her seat in the car, or leaving a rose in the car that just says, you're still the one for me. And we forget how small we think those gestures are so small. But quite honestly, when you're mean and you're mad and you're angry, is the words that she hold on to. So if you want to have an antidote to some of the words that you say, that she be like, I can't get over him saying this. Love gonna be the antidote, and it's gonna be what you do in your off season that lets me know if you're ready for game day.
That's good.
Good.
That's good. What you got, Miles?
That's really good. Coach hit on it with one of the words that she said in there, which is, I think that loving daily means intentionality, right? I think it means that you're showing up with a purpose, right? You're not just going through the motions. And I think that's the difference between a relationship and a partnership where you're loving each other for 365. You don't take any opportunity as you don't overlook any opportunity as a chance to show up and to learn and to grow and to pour into your partner and into your relationship in general. And I think that the second thing that kind of sets apart a relationship between a partnership that's 365 days is it's service based with no return, right? So many times people want to go in serving, but the whole concept of serving is for them to receive something back. They can't wait until it's their turn to receive it back. And if they don't get it right away when they believe they should get it, now they don't want to serve anymore. And I think that that's the difference, because when you're in a partnership for 365 days, right, every single day for years and years on end, you're not going to always get the return on your investment right away, right? It may be some delayed gratification that takes place. Your wife may be in a position to where she can't cook, stand on her feet. She may be pregnant, and maybe she doesn't feel like having sex. Maybe she doesn't, have the energy to do certain things. And you have to be able to still serve her, even though you're not going to get anything in return. And that's vice versa for the women towards the men. And you have to really be able to watch your heart posture to not become resentful quickly when you know who your partner is when they're going through a certain season. And I think that a relationship that's not that 365, it's all quid pro quo. It's something for something. I give you this, you give me that. And so long as you're moving that way, that's a transactional relationship. It's not one that's actually built on trust and love that's going to sustain you.
That's actually really good. So Coach Lawrence said love, you said serve. And I think both of those are really profound. And Miles, I was going to say serve, but since y'all took a lot of them, I'm going to say one way that you can love on your partner daily or show for your partner daily is in daily prayer, right? It's something profound about being able to spiritually cover your partner. Like I told you guys in previous episodes, I make it a thing to pray for my lady at the top of the morning. I make it a thing for me to pray for her before she goes into every shift, and then also before we go to bed at night, right? I just want to make sure that we're covered and that she's covered, and if there's certain things that she may be concerned about throughout the day, certain things she may be anxious or fearful about, or even when it comes to our relationship, if there's any hesitation, I'm giving it to God, because where I don't have the answers, He does, right? And where I may have an answer, He gives me the confirmation about if I'm in the right or wrong. So I do believe that if you make it a habit as a man to pray for your partner daily, and not just in your quiet corner, but pray with them, right? Hold her hand, y'all kneel in front of your bed or whatever, wherever you about this together. If you do it together, not only does that build a spiritual connection, but it makes her feel a sense of safety and sense of security. And I think that there's no other greater intimacy than knowing that you guys have that together. So that's one thing I add to it.
That's good. I think anywhere that you insert God on a daily and repeated basis, it gets stronger. So I think that's definitely a mandatory aspect, Rex.
It is. And you just got to think, man, like, what does my partner need, bro? It's truly like putting yourself aside. How can I serve? How can I show for them? Where can I lighten the load? Right? Where can I lighten the load? It makes me think about the conversation that you had around, when your father had lost his job and he showed up at the house and took care of everything, right? Or it makes me think about how Coach Lauren, what you do with your father and showing him love by taking him out on dates. right? Makes you think about just showing up for people. Like, not only do you do what you will want people to do to you or for you, but you also show up for yourself. And I think one of the best ways to really show up for your partner and to love them daily is to be the healthiest version of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm healthy, if I'm working on my insecurities, if I'm working on my finances, if I'm working on the areas where I lack confidence or the areas where I may be weak, the more I pour into those areas, the stronger I can be as a partner,
Yeah.
right? And then being vulnerable, that's another piece. If I'm able to be vulnerable with my partner, then that's going to show love because now I can allow my partner to see where I'm weak. I can allow my partner to see my blind spots. So that was just a couple of things that came to my mind at the end.
That's good. I thought about something. I wrote this down, but I didn't say it. When I was talking about the intentionality piece, I think another distinction is in a relationship that's based on loving their partner daily. Intentionality is the focus, right? Picking up on the little things and doing it without being asked and just finding ways to show up. And I think that in just a relationship, it's everything has to be requested.
Yeah.
Right. And it's no problem for you to voice what you need. But at the same time, when you're with somebody that often and you've been with them for some time, you should take pride in learning your partner, in knowing what they want, when they typically want it, when they're going through a certain place or phase in their life, what really helps them get through it. Right. Like as a man, or you with your woman, she gets her cycle. You should know when she gets her cycle what things soothe her. Right. You should know, if she has a favorite candy or chocolate that she wants to eat during that time, her favorite food, flowers, whatever it is that she really seeks that gives her peace during that stressful period, you should know it. As a woman, when your man is really stressed out, what is his thing that he likes to do to get away? Does he need quiet time? Does he like music? Does he need a night out? There are little things that you should learn for your partner so that they don't always have to request you to do simple things for them. So I think that's also a difference.
That's actually really good. Coach, you got anything else you want to add to that?
No, I agree exactly with everything that Miles said. We've got some conversations on Instagram that's being had. If y'all want me to kind of bring it to the floor, let me know. So let me go back up some. Ashley Love said, facts, they mean the most. She also said, difference between flowers every Friday instead of your partner thinking you did something wrong because it came out of nowhere flowers. That's them Betty Wright guilt trip flowers.
Them guilt flowers.
Yeah, from the night before. That's what those are called.
Weren't you just talking about that last week or the week before?
Did. Absolutely did. And then Ashley also said having vulnerable conversation. So that's some of the conversation that's happening on our IG right now.
I love it.
We appreciate y'all. Keep on chatting. Keep asking questions too. If you have something that you want to inquire about, man, let us know so we can jump into it because we're like open books, I promise. So question number 2. What are some common misconceptions about love and consistency in relationships? What are some common misconceptions about love and about consistency in relationships? And I'm gonna go ahead and start by saying a misconception is that the little things don't matter, right? And I promise you, if you think the little things don't matter, you're in for a world of hurt. If you're in a marriage, you can be expecting a divorce, or you're going to be expecting a very unhappy partner, because it's the little things that add up to be the bigger things. The little things, as far as like, okay, stop being so upset about your partner maybe leaving something on the counter and just taking care of it. You see that the tissue is getting low, and your lady's got to use it back, making sure there's tissue there, right? If you're a man and your lady needs gas in her car and it's late at night, you go ahead and go fill it up for her. Opening doors, right? Opening doors for your partner, whether it's a car door, whether it's a regular door, just being respectful. One thing, my lady, past couple of mornings, she's been going to work at night and getting off at 7 a.m. and she'll drive to my place. And one thing that I do is when she takes off her work clothes, I go ahead and throw it in the wash machine so it can be prepared. I go ahead and get the bed ready for her, and I go ahead and make sure she has the items that she needs to, like her bonnet and everything. I already have it laid out. So listen, you ain't got to think. You come in the house, take a shower if you need to. I got your bonnet here. I'm about to throw your clothes in the washing machine. It's the little things that matter. So she doesn't have to think about it. So I think that's a huge misconception.
That's good.
Yeah, I was gonna say minimizing your partner. So, or minimizing what you've done. So when people hit that I only can get you looking lonely. I only can get you to lonely very fast. Say it again, Rick.
Expound on that. I only.
Yeah, and so it sounds like when your partner is saying like, think of a really good example of one of mine. Like, I only asked you to do this. Or I only did that. Like almost like it's not that big of a deal. So like the dismissive brush off. And so we minimize our partner's feelings by saying, I only. And the truth is the I only could be the thing that leads you into division, because you're minimizing the experience of the other person. And that only thing that you feel like you're doing can sometimes be one of the biggest impacts to the relationship. And I think a lot of times we oftentimes think like it's not that big of a deal. And it is the biggest deal because timing is everything. And I always say that words carry power, but tone keeps receipts. So even though you feel like I only, that tone, you make her keep that receipt. Period. And now I only ain't having sex with you tonight.
That's how. What you got, Miles?
Man, what I was gonna say, first I had to write that down. I always love when you say that words carry power, but tone keeps receipts. That's powerful. I was gonna say that one of the big misconceptions about love and consistency in a relationship is that a perfect balance exists, and it doesn't. Right? You never find a perfect balance of how things are going to go, because life changes every single day. Your partner changes every single day. And so a lot of times we're showing up trying to have the perfect balance of meeting this person in the middle. But what does the middle look like? Right? At certain points in time, you're going to have to redefine what meeting in the middle is. You're going to have to redefine what the new quote unquote balance is. And it's not going to be the same in every single season. Every season is going to require you to show up as something different, right? When you guys are single parents, or when you guys are married but don't have children, is what I meant to say. When you guys are married but don't have children, there's a different version that you can be with each other. You can be, really spontaneous, just have fun, go do whatever. It doesn't necessarily have to be planned, because you guys are really only responsible for each other. But when you have children now, there's a totally different version of yourself that has to show up, because you have somebody else that depends on you for every single thing. And you can't just do the simple spontaneous, let's go on a dinner date, because where's the little one going to go? Right? How do you make time for loving each other when you got a house full of rugrats running around and you got to take them to their games and then after school programs? When do you make time for each other now? And if you keep trying to be the same person that you were when you guys were empty nesters, it's not gonna work the same way. You have to redefine how to love at every single stage of the relationship. And so I think we really try and show up thinking that, oh yeah, I'm gonna do it this way and we're gonna be just fine. I'm gonna go to work, I'm gonna pay for all these bills, you stay at home, you be a stay-at-home mom, all that stuff, and that's gonna be our balance. But then things change, right? And what happens if she now needs to go to work and you guys are unwilling to sacrifice, unwilling to change the narrative? Well, then now you're going to feel like we're out of balance. This isn't what we signed up for. No, you signed up to be with each other for better or for worse. This is exactly what you signed up for. It's just you're not willing to change. You're not willing to realize that balance is shifting and you need to figure out what your new norm is. So I think that's a very big misconception, is that you think you find this perfect balance is going to be that way forever.
And I think that's beautiful, man. Because at the end of the day, typically you're not going to come from the same background. You may not have the same beliefs growing up. Your parents are going to probably treat you different. The way you guys spend money is going to probably be different. So when you come together, there's going to be a lot of friction to figure this bad boy out, right? Like I said, there's going to be some months I'm better, some months I'm not going to be so great. But one thing I want Coach Lauren to kind of give feedback on is because out of all of us, Coach Lauren has been on the marriage level.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you find that balance in that relationship when you are married and you have a whole new person that you have to consider and could essentially be one with?
Man, so one of those things is you've got to really get to being very intentional. I'll say I was married 4 years before we had our first son, and it was rough because we had been so accustomed to like you come and go as you please, right? It wasn't. We didn't need a calendar. I didn't know that mamas get calls so much when the kids get sick. I thought that they tap out at some point and we call daddy. So they don't call daddies. Just FYI for the women out there, I'm gonna give y'all the real tea, not the stuff your grandma and them be telling stories about at the house and let me tell you the truth. They don't do that, okay? They call mamas a lot. And I wasn't prepared for that as like a very high performing, overachieving woman. And we had to really start, like, I remember us starting this thing called Love Nuggets. And he would send me like emails of like, and it would just be like little short, what have you, almost like poems, if you will. And we would go back and forth. Those things helped us. We also implemented a date night on like Friday nights. And so he would like get a sitter for the kids because our boys are 16, 17 months apart. So I practically had twins. And so thankfully, having the right support around is going to be key for those of you that are entering into parenthood or already have children, having somebody that can get the kids. And so we were very intentional about that. And I'll say that helped me a lot because a lot of times as the strong Black woman, we think that we have to go figure out, okay, well, who's going to watch the kids? It's almost like you came with a great idea, but now I got to go run the play.
Yeah.
Because now I got to get the bottles and make sure they got enough Pampers, and then do they have enough formula, and then who house are they gonna stay there? She coming over here, like it's a whole system, and it takes two people working it. I'm gonna tell you that it takes two people working it, and you got to be selfless. And so we did do those things to try to like have time that we spent together. But even in that, it was still challenging. Because this is what I see people do all the time. We go on date night, but we really on a date with our phone.
That's good.
But we check the box. Here you go, Rex. I only check my phone one time, right? But that one time turned into a 20-minute conversation with someone else. Now our food done came, the waiter done came about 3 times trying to see if we ready. And now I don't even feel like sitting here because I don't feel like you're even present.
Yeah.
You're here, but you're not present. So now whatever conversation I wanted us to have, we can't have. And so for those of you that are married or thinking about marriage or what have you, whatever this looks like, your second time around loving, know that it's gonna take strategy, systems, and support. And that's the same thing that it takes to run a business. And I just don't think sometimes that we think that it does, but it does. And so if you want her to be present at the table, you got to take her out of survival. So she's trying to survive being a mama. So you need to kind of think ahead to take her out of survival, or the whole time she's going to be wanting to check the babysitter.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
That's like
that has to be tough. That has to be tough because I imagine you leave, especially as a mother, you're so attached to your kids. You out with your man and you thinking about where the baby's at, where they this, they're that. And if your man can't really be the type to soothe that and really calm down and tell you like, hey, they're fine, we're here, then you're not going to even enjoy yourself being out, away from the kids. So that's
for the record. I enjoyed myself being away from the kids. I love my kids, but I was definitely not checking no babysitters.
You said they got it.
What if I got a check? That means you are not the person for the job.
That's real.
I need to be able to take my whole hat off. My biggest concern was like, who's gonna call, get the sitter, then like who's gonna get the kids over there to the sitter. Like I was more concerned about the operational system of how we do this more than the other side. But you got to find out what your partner's thing is, because most women are not like that. They be want to check on them kids.
Yeah,
y'all pray about them kids and focus on their husband.
We got a question in the chat.
What we got?
Yeah.
Brandy said, "Do you guys believe in wrong timing, right person?"
Brandy, what?
Huh?
Brandy, what's the full name?
You don't know this, Brandy. She went to Fisk with me.
Okay. Yeah, I went down the street, brother. You don't know that. I
was about to give full names.
Our cousin him.
Yeah, what was the question again?
Do we believe in right time or wrong timing, right person? This is a tough one, bro.
I don't know if I do anymore.
Yeah, it's tough.
I don't know if I do anymore. And the reason I said, do we believe in right timing, wrong person? That's what she said, right?
Yeah. No, wrong timing,
right person.
Right person.
Well, yeah. Okay. So part of me does, part of me doesn't. And it goes, I was talking to a client about this the other night, actually last night. And I think is in Song of Songs, chapter 8, I believe it talks about don't awaken love until it's ready.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I do believe if a man ain't ready, it's the wrong time. You know what I'm saying? If he's not ready, it's the wrong time. Because if a man's not ready to communicate, if he's not ready to make you priority, if he's not ready to die to his ego, die to his pride, if he's not ready to die to his flesh, if he's not ready to be selfless, to put aside himself to become more selfless, then things aren't going to work out like they're supposed to be, right? If he's not ready to take care of his responsibilities and initiate, right? Go out there and hunt and make you feel wanted, make you feel desired. So that could be a wrong timing type of situation. But the question now lies, does that mean that you guys got to pull things back? He got to develop and continue to date, and then y'all spin the block after a couple failed relationships when he finds himself? Does that mean y'all both take that risk and y'all grow together? Right? So you got to ask yourself, like where I am in life right now, that's kind of how I see it. It's like you may have to take that risk.
Yeah.
If you wait, you know what I'm saying? You know what? Good person, they just not ready yet. I'm just gonna hold back. They may run into something else. And next thing you know, with that next person, they get a kid by. Right? Now are they the right person now? Because if they come back around, so that's just kind of where my head is. What y'all think about that?
Coach, you want to go?
So my thought about that is, if it's the right person and the wrong timing, what is it that you don't have time for? Like, because when it's wrong timing, oftentimes somebody not willing to sacrifice, somebody not willing to be honest about what's really all in their closet. Somebody still dealing with guilt, blame, and shame. And so the reason we aren't able to truly, it's not that it's the wrong person, it's that I haven't become the right one. And that makes the timing wrong, because if you're not ready to become the person that can be emotionally available and safe at the same time, if you're not ready to be the person that can sacrifice your ego for the sake of love, if you're not the person that understands discretion, come on, somebody, you ain't got to tell everything. You ain't got to, if you're not ready to be the protector of his heart, because you got to tell your mama when he make you mad. Then it's the wrong time for you. Because, because it literally does take that. And I do believe that the right person, when it's the right person, honestly, you know it because it's the right purpose. I also say this, when you get married for the right reasons, you grow from them too. When you get married for the wrong reasons, you divorce for the right ones, because you weren't supposed to get married to them in the first place. That's the whole point. So you think about, from a purpose standpoint, does adding this person to my life advance the purpose that God created me for? Because then at that point, the conversation with you and God needs to be, God, what areas are I underdeveloped? Because certain things, honestly, a lot of us have missed out on some great relationships because we were too scared to grow up.
Yeah.
We don't keep it real.
Yeah.
And that is why those relationships outgrew us. It wasn't because God didn't send you the right person. It was because you wasn't ready to grow up. And that doesn't always mean it's you as the person that maybe who asked the question. It could have been another person, because it takes two to make it go right. And takes two to make it go wrong. Amos 3:3 says, how can we walk together unless we agree? So if we can't agree, then we can't walk together. And so we have to understand purpose, because purpose helps you identify your person, and then it gives you profit, PROFIT. It gives you a gain, it gives you an increase. But if you don't have purpose, then you may be interviewing the wrong person for the job.
That's good.
Good. I think that's spot on. I do think it's a two-sided affair. On the personal side, right? A lot of times, if you have to say, right person, wrong time, that means you don't have clarity, right? Because if you have clarity on your purpose, on where you're going, you've done the work to heal from your past, to know your triggers, and to know what's healthy and good for you and what isn't. It should be obvious to you whether this person, not the timing, this person is good for you and where you're going, or if they're not. If there are things that alarm you about that person in particular, then you're clear on your purpose, then it's not the right person. It's not even wrong time, it's not the right person, right? I think the second part to that is for yourself. If you haven't done the work, if you have triggers and this person has all these good things that you see in them, they're mature, they communicate well, they're service oriented, but that stuff just gives you the ick, right? It's because you yourself have some healing that you need to do. You have some internal trauma, some fears, some past relationships that have scarred you that makes it very uncomfortable to be loved properly, right? So if somebody does the right thing, and I've heard this like from homegirls who will say like, yeah, he took me out. He did everything right. This is that and that. But something about he was just too nice. Like everything was too right about him. You're the problem. You're not prepared for what you be saying you want. You want toxic. You want the man that doesn't open the door. You want the man that's emotionally unavailable so you can chase something that reminds you of your past, right? You got to do the work for yourself. So if you've done the work and you're clear and have clarity for yourself, there should be no such thing as right time and wrong person. Like, they either are the right person or they aren't. Now, I will caveat it with this. I believe it's Corinthians. I pulled it up. Yeah, 2 Corinthians 5:17, which says, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things have passed away and all things have become new. If you think about it like this, if when you meet them, they're not walking with God, but they come back around later and they're renewed in Christ, it's a new person. So yeah, they were the wrong person back then. But now in this new time, now that they're walking with God and they're aligned, maybe they are the right person, right? And so I think we got to realize that if we're dying to our flesh daily, we talked about this on the podcast 2 weeks ago when we were talking about sexual trauma. We were talking about like when you want to get over an addiction, you have to redefine yourself, right? You have to stop saying, I am this, I am that. When I wanted to get better in my relationship and not lust, I had to stop telling myself I'm an unfaithful man. I had to start saying, no, you're a faithful man. You're a son of God. Like you believe in God and you follow his word. And I had to redefine myself and make myself a new person. And so when I refer to that past person, I don't refer to him as if I am currently still him. I say in my past, I used to, right? And that's something my therapist had to work with me on, because he's like, you have to be very careful what you say you are. So if you can be renewed into a new person, then yeah, I think that person maybe can come around at a different state, but they have to be a new version of themselves in order to be considered, to me, the right person if they were the wrong one in the past.
That's actually really, really good. Both of y'all made some really great points. And so let's tap into another question. Question says, what role does emotional intelligence play in sustaining love every day? And how can couples develop it?
Miles.
Look. EQ, man. It is everything, because when I lacked EQ, nothing grew in my relationship. It was a cycle of the same things happening over and over and over and over again. Nothing ever got better, simply because you had two people who were very emotional, as humans should be, but with no ability to receive, understand, and put themselves in the other person's shoes, right?
Mhm.
So when you're faced with that type of scenario, what ends up happening is you two could be on the same page the whole time. You guys could be talking about the exact same thing, but because you two say it in a different way that triggers one person's emotions and triggers the other person's emotions, you guys think that you don't understand each other at all.
Yeah.
Right. And you go to therapy, or somebody does a little bit of learning and gets their EQ up, and then you sit back and you take a step back where you learn how to pause a conversation until the emotions calm down. And then you speak to each other and remind each other of the love you have. And you try that conversation again, and you're like, wait, we agreed the whole time. We're saying the same things. But when you don't have emotional intelligence, it's like you're speaking two different languages. That's always the example I give, is like, people don't always hear and speak through the same tongues, right?
Mhm.
People talk harsh because that's just their defense mechanism, but they hear very softly. But if you talk to them harsh the way they talk to you, everything goes downhill, right? And my lady is the one who taught me that, because her coming from her background, she's always had to defend herself. So she's
Yeah.
very quick to jump if she feels like somebody's attacking her. And I would be like, well, shoot, you giving it that way, you gonna get it back that way. She talk harsh, so I guess that's the way she understands it. So I can do that. All right, let's talk harsh. But then she's crying, and it's like, how are you crying? And you the one that jumped first? Like, what? And I'm not understanding why we keep having this exact same issue over and over again, until one day, I don't know what it was, but one day I remember I was just driving down the road and it kind of hit me. And I'm like, she doesn't hear the same way that she speaks. She hears very softly. And if you keep trying to talk to her and retort back to her the same way that she speaks, you're never going to get anywhere. The next time it happens, respond to her with love. Respond to her with something calm. Respond to her with something with peace. And let's see what happens. And it was crazy how, as soon as I started doing that, her fire went down immediately. Immediately. Everything changed. And I always tell people this: if you go to McDonald's in America and then you go to a McDonald's in China and you want to order a 10-piece McNugget with fries and a Hi-C orange, if you say it in America, you're going to get exactly what you asked for. But if you go to China and you're still speaking English to them, same restaurant, same menu, they will not understand what you're saying. And you won't get anywhere with them. It'll be nothing but confusion. You got to learn their language. And so you really do. Emotional intelligence puts you in a place to where you can learn your partner's language, and then be able to communicate effectively. So I think it's one of the most pivotal, if not the most pivotal aspect of a relationship, because once you have that, everything else, I think, can fall in line.
No, I'm in 1,000% agreement. I wrote this quote down as you were talking that popped in my head, and it was when you talked about you gave the example about the matching of the energy, right? Like you come to be aggressive, I'm gonna come back. And I wrote this down, and I hope this blesses somebody. Matching energy doesn't work, but matching effort does.
That's good.
Matching energy doesn't work, but matching effort does. And so what do I mean by that? A lot of times when we're trying to match energies with people, at that point, you're already on a lower level of yourself. That's number one. Number two, matching effort is also connected with initiative. And so our efforts should show that I'm trying to love you. You should be working very hard to be put on trial, sentenced to life without parole for loving your person.
Man,
that should be the effort you're trying to put in. I should be able to see you working so hard in your efforts to love your person that I should be able to send you to prison, life without parole, with no issue, because there's so much evidence that you're trying to love this person. Our issue is we're trying to protect ourselves from each other. And so instead of protecting ourselves from the enemy, we're protecting ourselves from the enemy. We're protecting ourselves from the one that was created inside of Adam's rib. Like you that's not who you're supposed to be protecting yourself from. It's quite honestly, and I had this conversation earlier today with one of my husbands, like from a leadership perspective, you should be covering. Love covers. It doesn't cover up. It covers. Understand there's a difference in wording. And I think from an emotional intelligence space, and how does that play into the relationships, is you've got to understand first you and what you are susceptible to. For me, I believe in watching my partner's back. Because the thing about givers is we attract takers.
Yeah.
And we can be so accustomed to being in the routine of giving that we don't realize that we're creating a cycle where now we are becoming the dependent and we're masking it as dependable.
Yeah.
Because my thing is, if I wasn't here, then who they was gonna call? Ghostbusters. I believe God wants you to call Ghostbusters. I mean, you need start figuring it out, because that becomes an issue. I was like, for real, because everybody calling you. Why? Because they know you're gonna answer.
Yep.
If we're together and we're in relationship and we are working on something together, or we have plans that we're doing something together, at some point, you, from a EQ perspective, you got to be able to see, okay, I don't have enough boundaries in this area.
Yeah.
And it's great to be dependable, but let God be dependable God. Because sometimes we become people's God, and now we're stuck in a position that we didn't really plan for. And it makes our partner feel like they're not a priority. When you're in a position you didn't plan for, it makes your partner feel like they're no longer a priority. And that is what not having proper EQ does for you. Or when you don't have a partner who can say, hey, I understand this is a one-off, but let's not make it a pattern.
Yeah.
Because a repeated routine quickly becomes a cycle.
Yeah. That's real. That's really good. I think about that because I remember being in college, and I was one of the few guys on campus that people knew could do basic things if they had some happen to their car, right? If you had a flat tire, you needed to put a spare on, if you needed to jump it, basic stuff. I was one of the few guys that knew how to do it. And I remember that when I was single, that was something all the time. Girls would call me, I come help them, this is that and that. But when I got into a relationship, that started to cause some conflicts, because she would point out, she's like, these girls not calling you because they need your help. They can call somebody else. They got brothers, they got boyfriends, they got this, they got that. They're calling you because they like your attention. They like you. That's why they're calling you to come do this. And me, I'm looking at it as an act of service. I'm looking at it as something just to show up and help people out, right? Why would you want me to not help people? She's like, I'm trying to tell you, Miles, these people don't have your best intention at heart. And that's something that she has called out throughout the course of our relationship for so long, about people's intentions towards me, because I am such a giver. I'm a show up for you and help you out in any way that I can. She's like, but what are they doing for you? Why do they only call you when they have these other people they can call on? Why is it that you end up giving so much of yourself to other people and then you have nothing else for yourself? And I'm telling you, emotional intelligence, I think one of the things that you're hitting on, the fact is that if your partner has emotional intelligence, that covering, they're able to protect you from yourself too, right? When your partner has EQ and you may lack it in a certain area, but she's really good at discerning people, right? She can feel that energy from a mile away and be like, I don't know, Miles, something about this person I don't trust, right? And anytime she said it, still haven't met a time where she's been wrong yet. And I used to fight her on it, like, nah, you tripping, that ain't it. No, she was right. And I think that that's a part of that, is when your emotional intelligence is strong in areas that your partner may be weak in, you are now something that can strengthen them. So you can watch out for them and you can protect them from themselves.
Nah, that's so real. I wanted to touch in too on something that BGB said on Instagram. And she said, I think I'm scared of the heartbreak and I'm imagining and overthinking. And that's definitely a fear tactic that the enemy uses to get us stuck in our mind so we cannot rest in our hearts. If you're always resting in your mind, that means you're never resting in love. And so you're never at peace with yourself. And so what happens is you end up only showing up as pieces of yourself. And so the person that's trying to love you in particular is always feeling like there's this piece of the pie they still don't have.
Yeah.
You've given 7 slices, but this was a medium pizza. It was supposed to be 8. Where's the other slice? And they feel like there's a missing slice. And there is a missing slice. And that's the slice that you've got to be willing to give up. And so I hope that helps free you. And know that if you give that missing slice and that person gives you responses, either guilt, blame, or shame, that is not a reflection of you. That is a reflection of their lack of emotional intelligence. That is a very clear sign, if you've ever needed one, that they are not safe for you and they won't be safe with you.
That's good.
So free yourself.
That is so good.
Yeah, free yourself.
I couldn't have said it any better.
I was checking, make sure we didn't have any other comments in here. Our YouTube channel, people tapping in. I see Christina. Hey, Christina. She was talking about those little items that make a big impact and intentionally being attentive. I love that. So yes, y'all definitely tap in. So I'll go on to our next question if you're ready.
Yep, I was just about to look at them too, but go ahead.
Okay, so how do small daily habits and gestures impact long-term relationship satisfaction? Did we talk on that?
We haven't yet, but I mean, we've talked about it in general, but this is a direct question. I can go. I'll go for that. So I remember, I'll do it with a story. I remember there was a time period where me and my girlfriend got super busy. She was doing night shifts from 7 to 7. And by the time she was getting off, I was heading into the office and I wasn't getting off till about 5. So there would be a lot of time periods where we're always at work. Not too much time can be spent talking. And I remember there would be times where it would be 1 or 2 or 3 o'clock before we've texted each other or called each other for the day. And I remember her getting really upset. And I'm just like, why are you getting upset about me not reaching out? The phone worked both ways, this, that, and that. She's like, yeah, you're right. It does work both ways. But you used to, always hit me up in the morning and send me a text, right? If we scroll through these messages, how many times am I the one that's the first one to reach out? She's like, I'm the one that's texting at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. So would you have texted me at all? And I'm like, of course I would have texted you. But I mean, I was just busy at work. I knew you had work. I was going to see you, before you went to your shift or whatever. And I remember we went back and forth on that a couple of times until I started to realize, like, okay, all she wants is a text, bro. Is it that much for you to just prioritize that when you wake up in the morning to send a text, right? And I had to get out of my own way. And when I started doing it, I don't think I've ever missed a day since then, and that was years ago. And if I do miss a day, it's not taken personally because she knows this is a part of your habit and your routine. And she'll just text, but she appreciates those. And every single morning, I pride myself in trying to figure out a new way of saying good morning to the person that I love, right? Like I try and find a new way. If it's honey bun one day, it's sugar cup the next day. I don't care how corny it is, but I take pride in it. And I think that the way that helps a relationship is, one, for me, it's putting a habit in place, a part of my routine that I don't let slip no matter what. And it also challenges me in a way to remind myself who she is to me, why you love her, and don't stop loving her. Keep doing the little thing, right? That's the starting point. And then for her, it keeps her feeling like she's a priority, that she's important. Like, oh, one of the first things you did in your busy schedule was reach out to me and text me, right? And let me know that you're thinking of me. And I think that goes a long way in relationships because everybody wants to feel like they're important to their partner. And anybody who says that they don't, you got some healing to do or you're lying. I don't know which one it is, but everybody wants to feel important to that person that they love. So small things show that you're where your importance is in that person's life and allows you to feel like you're being thought of as much as you think of them.
No, that is so real and on point. And I'm tickled because I recall having a similar conversation and being like, hey, I don't like feeling like I'm the one always reaching out, especially for women, because I want to sit like No matter what y'all think about the strong black alpha female woman, let me go and dispel all the big myths right here. We want to submit to a man that we can trust.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we want to be in our feminine energy. We just haven't always had the grace and space to do that.
Yeah.
And so I have gotten to that point where I will communicate that when you do this, this makes me feel like I feel like I'm going to have to rise up into more of my masculine energy. And I don't want to do that in this area. I want to be pursued because again, I will always match your efforts, but I'll never match your energy.
Yeah.
I will always match your efforts, but I will never match your energy. And what does that mean for me? That means that I'm never going to lower my standard of who I am and allow you to dictate that, because now that is altering the value and foundation of who I am. And so it's very important to me. And so when I think about like those small habits and those small daily things and daily gestures, I am one who pours into my person. And so, and I can pour into you in a way where I can challenge and transform in the same time. Mm-hmm. Like it's that healthy balance of alpha where you know when to be the lion and the lamb. And so for the ladies that are listening, listen, your man wants to be text good morning, babe. He wants to be hyped up. He wants to know that he can do it. He wants to know that you believe in him. Like one of the greatest things that men love is to know that the woman that they're with believes in them, because a lot of times they understand that they're under the gun when it comes to trust. Mm-hmm. And trust is built over time, not overnight. And it can be lost in a second. And so it's very, very delicate. And so he needs to know that, hey, I'm still as interested in you. And this is why, because your why has to be bigger than the what. And that is what focusing on those small daily habits does, is that it makes the why bigger than the what. Because a lot of times it's the what that hangs us up. It's what you did, it's what you said, it's what you meant to say. And we will get so honed in on the what that we forget the why. But the why is the purpose. Why do I love you? So I love to make sure that my partner knows, why do I love you? Why do, like when I say certain things to you, why? Because a pair of lips will tell you anything.
Yeah. That's
and most men have heard a whole bunch of things just so a woman can get his money or get whatever she could get. And so men go through hurt just as much as women do, sometimes even worse. But we don't always hold space for that conversation, but that's a real one. And so as love being also a healer and a challenger, it's important that we do let our partners know, like, why? What does it mean? And most strong Black alpha woman personalities, our biggest struggle is words of affirmation. We'd rather go act. We'd rather do a service. We'd rather cook. We'd rather go and do something for you than have to utilize our words and tell you how we feel. But that is what he needs to hear. Because if he can hear your mouth when you fussing, he should be able to hear your love when you're happy. And I'll land my plane here. There was this quote that I read by J.A. Watkins. And he said this, and it stood with me, that when I'm mad with you, I want you to know I'm still mad about you. Mm-hmm. So does your partner feel that way? Do they feel like when you're mad with them that you're still mad about them? Because that's a beautiful balance of love.
That's good.
And so I think about that in my wording when I want to say something or something's frustrated me. I may wait to double tap on it, because I want to make sure that even when I'm mad with you, you still know that I'm mad about you.
That's good.
Like I don't play behind you. I just maybe one area that I believe we can grow in, and I always say we. Yeah. Because he can't grow without that. And you have to understand that there's transition for men and for women, because you're going from being a me to a we, and that mindset takes time. It doesn't happen overnight.
That's a fact. That's really good. That's really good. And I think that's actually a good way for us to hit this one last question.
Yeah.
Which is, what are practical ways to maintain passion, intimacy, and connection when life gets busy? And I will go first. I think the first thing is that statement, when life gets busy, you got to learn how to take a pause. and give time and space for your partner and your relationship, right? If you're both busy all the time and there's never any time for the two of you outside of when you lay down to go to bed at night, and that's all you do is sleep together, that can only do so much for so long. The heart needs more, right? Your relationship needs more. And you have to be able to remember what your priorities are. And so I always think that people get their priorities twisted when they get, busy with life. You have your kids, you have your job, you have all those things. But the Bible makes it clear what your number one priority is. It's your marriage, right? Outside of course, your relationship with him, but your relationship with him is an example of marriage. But you already know this. We ain't gonna go too deep into it. But bottom line, like your marriage, your wife or your husband comes first, right? And everything else falls in line through that. And the problem is we're always putting our partner second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. They're always getting the remainders and they're never getting the best of us. And so I think the first step to keeping that passion, that intimacy, and that connection is to showcase to your partner and for them to showcase to you, you're still number one. I'll move all these meetings around. I'll call off work today. I will tell them kids to go play their video games in the room and leave us alone for the next 3 hours. If it means that the priority that you are to me. So I think that's the first step. But the next thing that I think happens is anything that you do together, activities that are done together, right? Acts of service and all those things are great. But I think the thing that increases intimacy and passion with each other is when you're doing different activities together. If cooking together, now that may not be for everybody because I know some people are like, when I'm in the kitchen, I need you out my way. But I know for some couples that's a perfect combination. She makes the eyes, he makes the protein, whatever it is, you work together, you do a little competition. I think competition is great for relationships, especially if you have two people that like to win. Sometimes you need a healthy mechanism to get that out. That way, you're not trying to win every single argument. You're not trying to win every single circumstance. Play games with each other the same way that you would go and compete against your homeboys or your homegirls for whatever it is that y'all do. You got your fantasy football league. Go to Dave and Buster's with your partner and go play them games against each other and look for a few hours. Like it feels good. And you're gonna remember those things. It's gonna give you something to laugh about and connect on while you're doing it. And I think that those are two important ways. And the last thing you hit on this, I think that one of the things that, especially if you're in the probably between the ages 45, 40 or younger, if you've ever been in that stage when you were coming through middle school, high school, college, and texting was popular, that long text message of somebody telling you why they like you, how beautiful you are, how special you are, them the things you screenshot, you save, you always remember that. I remember texting those to women, and my heart is this is gonna be the one she gonna know, right? And I remember receiving those. That feeling is unmatched, but we don't do that with our partners a lot, right? Because it's like, oh, you should know. I tell you this all the time that I love you, that you're beautiful. But just the act, even if you've said all these things a million times, if you write that down in a message, there's nothing better than open up your phone to a good message that you got to scroll on your text message. The bad messages, there's nothing better than that feeling of that good message that's praising you, that's telling you why you're so amazing and how much they love you and what you mean to them. And you just walking on a cloud that entire day. I think that right there can really be the wind beneath the person's sails and carry them.
I love it. That was so good. I'm like over here, like, yes, it's smiling all big. I'm in agreement. Like B Plant said, facts. So I'm gonna give you one a little extra bonus right off of what Miles said. Understand that busyness is the culprit to connection. Let's start there. Busyness is the culprit to connection. And why do I say that? It's because who is the author of chaos?
Yeah, that's good.
So understand that is the culprit to connection. Secondly, calendars equal commitment. Put it on, just put it on the calendar. Why do we Google Calendar is still a blessing, okay? Everybody got some Gmail emails. Put it on the calendar. because when we put it on the calendar, now we've made a commitment that we're going to do it.
Yeah.
My friends know if it ain't on my calendar, I'm probably not coming to your event. Period. So if it's not at this big age, we not 18, 19 no more on college going to the every Thursday night club party. You're not. Okay. We done got older. You got to keep up with them bills. Know when a light bill do, this do. You put an extension over that. Listen, that's too much. So just put it on the calendar. You don't act like you don't have a problem with your job. Like,
that's
you know, you let the people, the job tell you what time to come to work. You don't get mad with them. How you don't get mad with your partner because y'all put it on the calendar? That's simple.
Yep.
So that way you can track it. So when people say, oh, we don't spend enough time, the devil is a lie. Google Analytics will tell you how many hours I spent with you for the month.
It's a fact.
I'm gonna bring data to show you how we trending. Okay, month over month, how we trending? Because if you can't measure it, you can't manage it, and the enemy will trick you out your spot because you thought you didn't get time that you already had.
Yeah, that's good.
And that calendar creates commitment, man. So that's that. That's my cheat code.
That calendar changes things, man. When you have it written down in stone, holds everybody accountable. It showcases priority because there is a good feeling to know that your partner's busy, but they cleared out time and space for you. And I don't know if you've experienced this, been around it when somebody calls, nah, I got something playing with my lady today, man. I can't do that. I know that make a woman feel good because when I hear my girl do that, nah, we have date night tonight, or Miles has a game that he's playing in. I don't care, my little intramural 7-on-7 league. The fact that you didn't cancel to go do this, which you probably would have rather wanted to do, but you came to support me, that means the world. So that calendar, that's a very good tip.
Yes, I'm with it. Well, this has been such a great conversation. I think her name is Amaya or Ayaya Hamor. Definitely, Ayaya, if you want to learn more about my services, shoot me a DM. I'll definitely get that information over to you. I do offer, for those of you that are listening, group coaching, and then also private coaching as well, for individuals and couples that are ready to master the art of living as one. So definitely hit my DM. I'll definitely make sure I respond to you tonight on how we can connect and book a call. And
you're about to be blessed.
Yes,
Lauren is the best in the game.
Man, this has been good.
Absolutely, this has been great. So for everybody that's watching, we're about to wrap up. Make sure you go to the link and click the newsletter. Sign up for the newsletter, guys. So excited for everything that we're sending out, keeping everybody informed. So please click that link, sign up, so that way you can stay connected with us with everything we have going on with Real Talk, Real Growth. Coach, do you have anything else you want to add before we close?
No, not that I can think of, other than thank y'all for tapping in with us. Thank you for tapping in YouTube. Yes. Thank you for sharing our live. I made sure I dropped the link for our newsletter as well there on our YouTube family. So thank you guys for tapping in. Thank you guys for following us. So please make sure you follow us. If you're not following me, I am Lauren G. Jackson right here. Get active was like, damn it, I'm late. See, get active. Are you on the newsletter?
I was waiting for you, bro.
See,
that's why you need to hit the link for the newsletter. That way you would have known. But no, I'm giving you a call, bro. But honestly, guys, thank you so much for your time. We hope you guys have a great Valentine's Day. If you have a significant other, remember what we said last week. Valentine's Day isn't just for the ladies. If the fellas, you definitely need to make sure you're doing your part. I suggest you do more than what your lady does. Just let you know. Don't do that. But ladies, do something nice for your man. I don't care if it's something super small. Just let him know, hey, babe, thank you for all this, but I love you. And if you are single and you don't have a special someone, then take yourself out. Okay, go do something special for you on Valentine's Day. Go love on yourself and really be able to connect with you, because your time is coming. Just wait. It's all in God's plan. Thank you all so much for tuning in today, and we can't wait for next Tuesday for our next episode.
Yes, thank y'all. Go shoot your shot at that man, sis.
There you go.
No, we still trying to go together.
We planned 1, 2, 3 said for you to send her the link. So
okay,
I got you.
Thank you, bro. I got it. Yes, please send me a DM, and I will make sure I get that over to you. And we'll see y'all next week. And if you're missing us out, catch us on YouTube. The replay will be there.
You can replay it.
That's it. Bye, guys. Good night.
Bye, guys.